Oh, levels you need to triage the market. Definitely need to triage. Definitely triaging HFR from the floor. Miss Trade, he's going to be with us here in a second.
I'm here. I'm here.
He is here. We just can't hear him. And I want to just wave a little bear flag here in the background. Because let's just say it, Matt. Bears are undefeated. I screamed it I went and watched the game at what's the name of the joint? Local joint. The poorhouse.
Hold on, we got somebody piping in here. Gotta mute that.
All right, Matt. Can we see the
Yeah, we can see your screen. Fun.
Right. All right. So check this out. We're at the poorhouse, right?
Okay.
And
why did you call me, by the way?
There was one little TV that was a solid 10 seconds ahead of the big screens, right?
Yeah.
And so this I just noticed it. I looked over and I see this play, right? And so then I just stand up and scream, I feel an interception coming right now. Interception coming right. It was so classic. People were like, oh my God, dude, how did you know? I'm a savant.
You had to be the only Bears fan there. Was Ricky there?
No, Ricky was not there.
Although he's moved to the west. He's moved to the west side now, so he's moving
moved to the west side. He's a neighbor of yours now.
No, not mine, but closer to you probably than me.
Right on. All right, Matt. Let's jump in here and talk price discovery first, and then we'll jump back to football. Bears undefeated. Lions. I don't know what happened. The USDA today reported, and Chris, a guy that I see a lot, a hog producer, saying this report is going to keep hog producers from expanding again for another year because grain prices are going to be elevated. Basically, what he's saying is the corn dropped to 172.5 bushels per acre. They're expecting 175, and the beans were down to 50.5 bushels per acre. Not exactly sure what they were expecting there, but why don't you bring up either the beans or the corn, Matt? And please, if you can, do well, you know what? I think the new crop will be the front month now anyway. So
I'm going to
November beans and December corn are the fronts. I'll stop sharing. You share.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with the beans here, Bobby. And I think what you want to see here is just a price face ripper. This is an hour chart. You look at the 5-minute, and we ran all the way up here to 1490. And let's just pull back a little bit in the time frames because I haven't looked at these in a while. But you can see we basically ran up to this old high 1490 and paused. So really we haven't broken out quite yet. I would say if we could close above 1500, we're off to the races to 1630. And this gap needs to be filled up here in the beans all the way up to 1690, by the way. So, but that's not going to happen unless we close above here. So I would watch this. This is
again, dude, I couldn't agree more that you get this ripper on the news and it goes right to the high. And if it does,
if it pauses here, it might be done.
If it pauses, very dangerous.
Very dangerous. And then wheat on the flip side, again, down $10 today, 10 points, $10, 859. And again, that's kind of just in this little bracket here. Also, much different chart. This is a 144 chart here also, but really not bullish at all. Beans.
Again, wheat, one of those things, if you're not familiar with trading grains, there's always somebody harvesting wheat somewhere in the world.
Correct.
So it's a little different complex than soybeans and corn. I mean, soybeans have the U.S. Base, and corn have the U.S. harvest and then the South American harvest.
So the beans are up almost 5%. Corn's only up about a 1.5%. So let's look at that real quick. Short term again did the same thing, kind of blew all the way up here to 700 and paused. And then when you pull back, you can kind of see though that there's a little bracket here, just a little one. But if we get if we can close really above 690, and we're at 695 right now. If we can close above that today, I would say, it looks like we're going to at least go to 720 to 750, 760. That's similar to the beans, like if we close up here. But again, it's kind of been inching its way up here for some time. And, the low down here in July was 560 or so. So it's up $130, which is significant. That's a 25% move. So there's been some big moves happening again, and this does not look deflationary to me right now.
Again, because I mean, obviously we have.
Well, I want to
CPI
bring this up because we have CPI, PPI, the complex this week. I expect everybody to be celebrating lower CPI, PPI just because gas is lower. But let's talk about that a little bit, because oil, we talked about it. Everybody last week, 1 week ago, was telling me oil's done, it's cooked, it's going to 60. Well, how does it feel at 90 today? Up your ass that you sold it down there at 91. How does that feel? Or excuse me, 81.
Please tell me how it feels.
How does just tell me? Is it a love
our
song?
Our whole segment is going to be on feelings.
Is it a love song? Yeah, is it a love song, or how do you feel? How do you feel me now? Because this was the low, 81 and change, 81.20, and we peaked all the way up here to almost 90 today. So again, this thing
filled out. Pete Stoudemire filled out 80%. Well, they filled out 100% of that value range.
On the weekly chart, that's correct.
Yeah.
And then it rejected it, and now you got to look at the 2 week chart, and then you got to look at the month chart. Then you start fractaling out. Even on the the 1 month chart, we're just getting into it, Bobby. So we're it looks like 93, 94, as long as 85 holds, and it did this morning. So we dipped down to 85. I actually picked some up there, like 85.40, 85.50 last night on the Sunday market. I'm like, thanks again, because we were at 88 on Friday. Pulled back and ripped again to a new high. So the trend is up here, not down on the short-term nature. And we're right back into that context of 85.95 that we talked about last week, right? So we blew it out on the top end by $2, and we blew it out on the bottom by $4. Three up, 4 down. But we're right back. We're in balance. I mean, right here is the balance for the 1 month charts. Right here at 89. So we're trading at 88. We were at 89.10 this morning. So we traded back to balance. Again, any dips, you get back to 85, 86. It looks like it's going to go to 93 to me again. We're back into that bracket. And that bracket is serious. So we had one fake out both ways, which neutralizes it. Now you're back to, really, a 16, 17 point range, Bob, from 81 to 90, 98.
Right on.
So the range has been expanded.
For sure, we're looking at people anticipating friendlier PPI CPI than has been delivered as of late. Whether that
and I also think that's partially the reason why the Nasdaq's up 8%, the SPOs are up 6.5, 7, right? Is because everybody's anticipating the CPI lower number. Okay, great, but that's a lagging number. So of course it's going to be better, because where it was in June, we're a little bit lower in prices across the board. I mean, there's no doubt we're going to be lower. But housing's not lower. Education is not lower. Nothing. None of this stuff is lower. None of the food is not lower. My food bills are still astronomical. Yours are. We talked about it.
Sure.
So.
For sure. Let me just point out one thing nuance-wise here. This is the SPOs, and again, I think it really wants to try to recapture that up momentum on the SPOs. 41.59. I know you have some similar areas in the SPOs. But I just wanted to point that out right now. This weekly chart, 41.59. This is the continuation chart, Dees driving the front month. And that's a level I will be keying off of. And again, I don't care what you think should be the pricing of something. If we close this week above 41.59, there's no chance I'd want to be short this market. Let me say that again, 41.59 weekly. We got an upward slope to it now. If it can recapture it and close this week above 41.59, I mean, the market is for sure short and scrambling from that position. So you got to be careful. I mean, we are both bearish. I think our tone has been bearish, but I respect that standard deviation modeling so much that there's no chance I'll be shorting this market if we close the week above 41.59. Why don't you take a stab at the Nasdaq? Same type of.
Well, I'm just going to look at a monthly on the SPOs here, and again, you can use a simple moving average here, and we've been below it for some time, and we keep trading back up to it. And on this monthly, this kind of this for me, 42.40 or so, you're going to have to prove to me that you're serious. And then if we get to 42.40, we may test that old high of 43.20 or whatever it was that we saw there in July. But again, we had a 2 month cycle that we predicted would end at the end of middle of August, and we're only 2.5, 3 weeks into that cycle. The first month will be up, I guess, by the end of this week. Today's the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. So 15th is 1 month. I think we got another month of this cycle. So that puts us to October 15th, the way this market's been trading. And you can see these bars this isn't bullish. It's not bullish to me. Like, we broke here and but we haven't broke hard yet. Like, there's still
right. Exactly. We talked about this again last week, so there's an argument. We talk about this a lot. If this was a smaller fractal, there's an argument going on here.
Yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in the 5th month now of this battle with 43. 43. What did we got up this last time? 43.30, and we're down to we got down to 36.38, 40 there in May. So we're in this pocket of 700 points. These bars are wide, but we're nothing. This big red bar here in April told me somebody is planning for something bigger coming forward. So now that still hasn't happened. I mean, we did go down to 3,600, but we're kind of back to the middle. So the top of that bar is somewhere up here around 4,500. Really, ultimately, this has to be taken back to be bullish for me on a monthly chart. So you're going to have to be over 4,550 on the monthly, Bob. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, because I think it's important that, people know the time frame that they're behaving on. But this isn't super bearish, and it's not definitely not bullish, but it's more bearish than it is bullish on the monthly. The weekly and dailies are more bearish. So the monthlies haven't really committed fully to the bearish side yet. We're still
exactly.
And which is the last time. It's the last time frame left standing. Now in the NASDAQ, we actually got the sell signal here in May, and it's hard to see because I have all the different times, but we are this same thing in April came, and then May said, okay, now you want to stay short, and you can actually see on my little indicator here, it turned red last month. So that's the first time it's actually turned red on a monthly. And this you can see it very clearly. If this was again, a 15-minute chart, you want to sell any rallies up into 13,900, 14,000 right now. And that's and that's 1,000 points from where we are still. So we could have some room left in this move, but I don't see us getting over 14,000. And if we do, you're wrong again. So kind of the line in the sand, as I like to say, the turning points are right around 14,000 right now on the NASDAQ, and we're at 12.8, and we're up again today. This is 4 days in a row, and big move. I mean, this is a big move that we've seen in 4 days, and you can see it on the short-term chart here, Bob. This is a 15-minute, but let me just look at the last week so you can take a look at this. We have gone from 11,915 all the way up here to 12,850 or so this morning. 12,840 was our high, and this is still again very bullish. 15-minute, not as much. Looks like it's trying to roll over, and the hourly is still bullish. I was looking at that with Lee this morning, and but we're coming right back into this this zone right up here, which is the top of that again, 12.9. So we're getting to the end on a 1 hour chart, right? From the 1 hour, you got to go to the 89 minute. But that 1 hour chart's going to have to blow through 12.9 for me to go to the 89, and the 89's already blown through. So again, it's plain and simple. It's an argument, and it's a battle. It's a battle. It's not a super clean, clear. If you get over 12.9, 13.4 comes into play again, and 13.7 was our recent high. So again, a lot of chop going on, a lot of thickness. I mean, look how thick this market is, right? Down from 11.5 up here to basically 14,000. It's very thick. So
we keep saying
if we get over 14,000, we can go to new highs again.
Right. How do you see that happening when Goldman's saying they have a fresh round of layoffs coming? We really haven't seen any bad news, but it seems to me that most people think it's out there somewhere. I mean, demand destruction has to show up in the bottom line at some point.
Well,
I'm
that's been the argument for the one thing. It's like, okay, demand destruction on crude. I'm like, that's why crude's going lower. I'm like, no, it's not. That's not why. It's because we're selling the strategic reserves. I mean,
another 8.9 million barrels today.
yeah, I mean, people like they're not telling you the truth, but I can tell you that's what drove it. And guess what? That puke down to 81 might have been the end. Might have been the end. Whoever bought that down at 81 is happy today.
All right, Mike, here's an interesting thing. We just had a
and then natural gas, but let me just continue this thought for a second while I have you. I'm going to throw this up before you talk about yours. Natural gas is getting to an area here where, again, on a month chart, if it's just getting into the value zone, it's up 4% today. This thing could rip your face off again back up to 930. So this is not a time to be shorting natty gas. It's probably a time to be buying it, especially because guess what? Winter is coming.
Yeah, winter is coming. Jon Snow. What do you know, Jon Snow? Winter is coming. Yeah. All right, this is very interesting to me because we have ripped in particular on EV stocks. This is Plug. We just had a reach out for Plug. And I got to tell you, I mean, this chart looks explosive to me. It looks like it wants to go retest at least this high at 46. It's put in a nice congestion here. You can't argue with the congestion that's put in. This bracket is put in from 25 to 31. And I kind of just think that like the market is short and there needs to be this rip your face off rally before there's a bunch of bad news that comes out that really puts the trajectory back south. I just don't, how many people do you know that are super optimistic about the future? And I don't know.
Yeah,
I just see a lot of concern.
A lot of times,
business owners.
That's a reason for me. They're not optimistic. They're somewhat pessimistic. So that is a reason for me to think that this could happen. I have to think that way.
Exactly. Anyway, Plug for me, if it can take out that high at call it $32, I don't see why it wouldn't go try to recapture this level up here at 47.
Yeah, the profile is bullish, and again, we keep holding the line of control, which is 40. It's called 25, and we're at 29.30 here. Listen, there's one bracket down here. We're 13 to, what was this? 13 to 20, and that's 7. So that projected to 27. That got you here real quick. It got you a little bit more to 30, and now you're in this 25, as you said. I'd say 25.31 range. So the next $6 gets you to, somewhere up in here, 36, 37. Yeah. I mean, it looks bullish, and I'd be a buyer all the way down to 17. So if you bought 25, you could exit below 25 and then, wait for, somewhere 21 and 17, I guess would be the next levels. But if, here, if we get above 32, again, like you said, 31, 32, that was the high here. That's the clean break if you close above there.
Yes, so, I agree. I agree. Close
above. Otherwise look for dips. Otherwise look for dips.
Speaking of dips, what are we doing for Monday Night Football? Speaking of dips.
Well, I thought we'd celebrate your Bears with Chicago beef.
The Bears, Matt, defense wins championships. All right. And let me just tell you that their defense looked better than it has in years. And the other thing that I thought that was interesting, when they tried to, in the first half, they had 23 yards, I think, almost for the first half, because they kept Justin Fields in the pocket. What are you doing? Let the guy, in fact, their biggest play was a broken play, and that should be the play all right, broken play on one. Ready? Break.
He's not I've never understood. He's not a drop back passer, but they're forcing him to drop back. He should be an RPO guy. He should be doing Lamar Jackson shit.
Exactly. The play is a broken play. Had him set up in the pocket, scramble right or left, let the guys that are, let them react to whichever way he's scrambling. And that's it. That's your broken play. Again, on 2. Ready, break. Matt, your Lions, I was so anticipating. I didn't see any of the game, but it looked like they had a massive comeback and then just
the typical Lions, Goff threw a pick 6 in the first half. Otherwise, they win the game. I mean, they lose by 3, they cover, so that's a win. But let me talk a little bit about our games. I said Northwestern giving 10, they're going to lose the fucking game, and you were like, "Oh, Northwestern's back." I'm like, did you see the team they beat, Nebraska? Oh, by the way, they lost to Georgia Southern at home.
And by the way, Nebraska fired the guy and gave him $7.5 million to get out of Dodge.
They were talking about, well, he should be fired, losing to Georgia Southern 45-42 in Lincoln. By the way, they were 210 and 0 in Lincoln when they were up, or when they scored 31 points. 210 and 0. Well, guess what? They're 210 and 1 now.
I think a couple of things for sure. Parity is alive and well, and you know, and let's just I need a different background than the Bear background here.
Now let's talk about this because I missed one game on the college side. I took. Are you bringing
something up? Are you bringing a share?
No, I'm not.
Hold on a second. Let me just bring a better background up.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So who'd you miss?
Well, I took Duke. Plus the 10, and they won outright. Vanderbilt, I was wrong. Baylor, I'm looking for the final. I don't. Yeah, well, no, that game. Baylor, I loved. They were getting points and they won straight out. So I took 2 dogs, gave those to everybody. Tennessee was -6.5. They got to overtime and win by 7. Thank God. So cover my ass there. Tennessee wins, so that's 3-0. Vandy was a loser. I said take the points plus 13. They did not cover that, so I was wrong there. And Kentucky, what was the score of the Kentucky-Florida game? Can you find? Oh, wait, here it is. Oh, yeah. I picked Kentucky getting 6.5, and they flat out beat Florida also.
Yeah,
so I gave you 3 flat out dogs, Bob, that win and cover, outright win and cover. So forget about, you people watching the Bear on ESPN Game Day, you need to be tuning in to Miss Trade. Because I just gave you 3 dogs that flat out won. Ding, ding,
money
ding.
Line, baby. Money line.
And you won 4 games out of 5. I don't care what you're betting. You're making money doing that. So forget, you do not listen to me for the program. I have no success, and I don't even bet the pros. But college, I'm going to give you the winners as we do here. And USC, by the way, covered too. That was another big one for me.
Hey, let me just tell you that
I didn't talk about those, but USC and Mississippi State were monsters, and I took those favorites because they're good. They're back. Once they join the Big Ten, UCLA and USC are 2-0. Did you notice that?
Yeah. I think the USC game is the most interesting one that I watched all weekend because
was it good? I didn't see it.
They look super, super legit. They look
well. That quarterback was his quarterback next at Oklahoma. So that was.
I mean, up and down the line, both offensive and defensive line. How, especially with the recruiting portal the way it is now, your ability to take talent from somebody else is just. And so, who was talking? I think I was watching. Who's the Texas coach that's now back at North Carolina?
Yeah, Sarkisian. No, Sarkisian.
Sarkisian's at Texas.
He's back. Which, by the way, great looking. Their future looks.
They're looking damn good too. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he was the old Texas coach. He's back at North Carolina.
Mac Brown. Mac Brown's back.
Mac Brown. He was talking about in today's day and age, like if you don't play a guy,
right,
he's in the transfer portal. So so part of the thing is getting all these guys a little bit more playing time than you used to.
Yeah, let me ask you about this. I was talking to one of my sons about this over the weekend. Like, with this NIL stuff, like they gotta figure this shit out because this portal is a problem because I don't know if you know this, the Texas starter, the quarterback, was the kid from Ohio State that left high school early, took $1 million from a dealership in Columbus, never even put on an Ohio State jersey, he was redshirted. And then he transferred back to Texas where he's from, got more NILs. So, like the dealership gets fucked in Columbus because they put out that was $1 million bet for a year and the kid never even played.
My the soft spot in my heart for car dealerships. Yeah, okay, there isn't one.
But you know what I mean?
No, it's a completely different animal now that you're looking at.
Like, how is that a good contract for the dealership? Like the kid never played.
I don't know.
I mean, you got a little bit of hype, on Twitter, whatnot, the people that are serious fans, but they already know, like, and the kids, the people from Texas aren't going to buy a car from you in Columbus,
You would not think.
You would not think. So
you would not think. Would not think.
That one was kind of weird tonight. And by the way, the only 2 games I took in the pro side, I actually won. I didn't mention them, but I did take the Lions plus 5.5 just because I'm a homer. And I took Tommy. I mean, the Cowboys are awful. Now that Dak's out for 3 seasons, 3 weeks, you can scrap Jerry Jones and the Cowboys again.
Exactly.
You can scrap.
In fact, I heard Jerry Jones tweeted that if you have a Cowboys jersey, you can show up to practice today at 9 a.m.
Did they sign Jimmy G yet? Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't know. But
He's going to be their quarterback.
You know, the Cowboys have always been open to the walk-on portal, the walk-on portal.
Well, the guy they put in yesterday is he's a Chippewa for guy. I'm like, I asked my son, who is this guy? Why is he on this team? He's been there 5 years. All
right, that's what we got. Matt, one last thing. Let's go to the smoke. Climate change alive and well in the Pacific Northwest. Idaho, particularly brutalized this year.
Yeah.
Idaho has had that brown diaper stain for months now.
That looks like Mr. Hank. That looks like Mr. Hanky right there, and the number 2 though too.
For
Mr.
sure.
Hanky.
Worse air in Portland
Christmas
than in Beijing. Just put that in your climate.
I mean, that is Mr. Hanky right there. Look at him. Oh, it looks like a big penis now too.
Take it easy, man. Take it easy.
All kinds of stuff going on there, Bob.
All right, that's what we got.
Why are we looking at your underwear, by the way?
Right, exactly.
Why are we looking at your?
I don't know. By the way, today we're in front of a live studio audience. Please remember Shrimp Mojo and the Manja TV bacon habanero ketchup, hot sauce, and whiskey barbecue sauce, all available at Amazon. And there we are live. Matt, let's just remember this day in sports.
The Bears 1-0.
The Bears, but this was from 1995. And this is what a Bear fan, look at it, went over the screen, the kick. Watch this now. Watch this. Watch this. Here's a real Bear fan. Football, I want it. I want to take it home. I'll just jump into the tunnel.
Oh my God.
Do you remember this? This is great.
No, I don't remember this one. Dude,
Go
what did
Bears.
he fall? How did it get down?
All right. That's what we got. Please visit us at marketmetals.io.
The sad thing was that was clearly a Packers fan, and the Packers won that game. So
yeah, slow down.
Well, I'm just saying the scoreboard showed the score, so the Packers.
Michael, Chicago. He's a Chicago guy. Anyway, marketmetals.io, Amazon.com for the Shrimp Mojo, and that's what we got. Opening tonight, Monday Night Football.
Who do we got? Who do we got?
We got Russell Wilson.
We got Denver versus Seattle, old versus new. Yeah,
it's a nice 250 million, 160 of it guaranteed. Russell Wilson.
I'm going to go with Russell then. I'm going to go with Russell.
You know what? I kind of like
the spread.
him too.
What's the spread? I hope he beats Pete Carroll's defense because that's all he's got.
I don't know.
He knows the defense well. He'll pick it apart. I think that's why I thought he was so good because he got to practice against that Pete Carroll defense every week.
Makes sense.
Right? Feel me?
It does make sense.
Shafiel.
All right. Is that it? Anything else? Any Bueller? Anyone?
It's pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet. Pretty quiet out there. You know, Apple came out with all their news. Nobody's really buying new phones, so we're going to see the discount window open there, I think, soon. Apple is up $6 again today. So I think, let me just bring up that chart here real quick because we didn't talk about it last week, but this has had a ripper. It's had a face ripper along with the rest of the market. And, you know, it is a one stock market now, the NASDAQ, so might as well talk about it. But I don't see us getting past 170. I just don't.
Broncos -7.
Broncos -7. Lee says, take that all day. Take the Broncos at home. Orange Crush. This is not this Apple chart again, to me, it's like
it is super fucking thick.
Good luck if you want to be a bull through all this. I don't see it getting over 177 obviously is the high that we just saw in August. I don't see that playing. 170 even looks difficult to me, but that's the top end of this profile here. That's what I see. And again, what else you got news wise? You got Christmas coming, of course, so we can, that's the next thing.
How squeezed our Christmas budget's going to be when everybody's paying $40 more?
I'm buying Chicago beef for everybody because they need to eat.
Is it Portillo's? Because they do deliver, and it is fantastic. By the way,
or maybe I'll just send Zingerman sandwiches. Also a good gift for the foodie in your family. Zingermans.com. Yep.
Maybe we need a Zingerman's. Is that a Detroit? I'm assuming that's Detroit.
Ann Arbor Deli.
Ann Arbor Deli. All right. Zingerman's versus Portillo's. Let's bracket it up.
Yep. Well, they're different food, so we can't talk. I mean, it's like,
Well, it's food. Is it not food?
yeah, but it's not. We're not doing Chicago beef versus Chicago beef. We're doing lean corned beef versus Chicago beef. I'm going to take lean corned beef all day. You're going to lose all day.
And by the way, I'll put up Manny's Deli in Chicago if you want to talk corned beef.
All right.
Second Avenue down.
We're getting the second Avenue.
Lee, a New Jersey guy, seconds to Manny's Deli immediately. It's like less than 0.2 seconds. Less than point. Lee's on board, Manny's. In fact, if I could go sit down at Manny's for a corned beef and a potato pancake right now, fucking forget about it.
Latke.
Oh, yeah. All right, that's what we got. Please visit us. Share, retweet, and plagiarize far and wide. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. I'll be back tomorrow for Market Vitals live, not Memorex. Thank you, Matt.
Peace.